evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studio here at Desanwe Kanda in Accra and also live on our website 3news.com. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up this evening, Electricity Company of Ghana ECG defends recent power outages amid 3 billion cedi infrastructure overhaul. We'll delve into the specifics and the apology rendered to you who have had intermittent power outages. Also in the bulletin, mounting concerns within the Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools over the growing difficulty in feeding students across the second cycle institutions. Plus, the Ghana National Fire Service is to revive its fire police unit after closure since 1998. What does the Ghana Fire Service Police Unit do? We'll give you the specific details in a moment. Before all this, let's bring you the news summaries.
Hi Martin. Now the Ghana Education Service GES has announced that approval has been secured for the payment of outstanding salary arrears owed to newly recruited teachers across the country. In a statement issued by the head of public relations, Daniel Fenyi, GES disclosed that the approval was granted by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with the Controller and Accountant General's departments. The Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools says it remains confident that the ongoing food funding crisis in Ghana's senior high schools will be resolved through dialogue, despite rising concerns over possible disruptions to academic activities. The National Secretary of Charles Primus Barrow struck a calm tone when he insisted that the organization is focused on engaging with stakeholders rather than confrontation. Away from that, the acting managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, Engineer Kwame Pipina, has rendered an unqualified apology to Ghanaians for the recent intermittent power supply that has disrupted businesses and households. His comments come in the wake of persistent power fluctuations in parts of the country, which have caused inconvenience and, in some cases, damage to homes and commercial activities. Just before we go, the Chief Executive Officer of the Mobile Money Fintech Limited, Momo Shaibu Haruna, has assured customers that there will be no disruption to services following the company's transition into a standalone fintech entity. He said the separation from its parent company, MTN Ghana, is in line with regulatory requirements and will not affect how customers access mobile money services. These are all on our website, 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Treve. Martin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Christabel. Now let's settle for the details of our stories now. And we're going to start from issues regarding power. And the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has justified recent intermittent power outages across the country, attributing the disruptions to an aggressive transformer upgrade exercise. ECG says the upgrades are designed to reduce system losses and improve reliability as electricity demand continues to rise nationwide. Addressing a press briefing earlier today, the Managing Director, Engineer Julius Pekpana, announced that these works are part of a broader $3 billion Ghana cedi investment designed to modernize Ghana's power transmission infrastructure over the next 24 months. Let's listen to the words of the Managing Director of ECG, Engineer Julius Pekpana, who has been speaking to the media.
Of our valued citizens. While power supply across most parts of the country has remained relatively stable, we are fully aware that some communities within the ECG operational area are experiencing intermittent outages and low voltages. We recognize the inconvenience and disruption these challenges impose on households, businesses, healthcare facilities, and educational institutions. We would like to assure you that we do not take these concerns lightly. It is the result of years and indeed decades of underinvestment in the planning of one of our most critical segments of the electricity supply chain, that is the distribution sector. I must acknowledge that within the last few weeks, we have launched the government's transformer upgrade and replacement program and have completed, ahead of schedule, the upgrade and replacement of power transformers at our Adenta, Maijong, and Lashibi primary substations. Some of these power transformers being replaced today are over 2 decades old. The demand for far outweighs the capacities of these power transformers. With the upgrades, the newly installed power transformers have increased capacity and can supply hundreds of homes and businesses.
And that is the acting managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Engineer Julius Kwekwena. There, you heard him when he earlier spoke to the media. Let's engage Dr. Charles Ni Ayiku, who is the Director of Communications for the ECG. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thanks for having us.
Help us put into perspective, when was the last time that the ECG undertook such a major exercise which has to do with, changing major infrastructure like transformers?
All right, thank you very much. And as indicated by the managing director, we have several stages of replacements as well as upgrades, which are usually ongoing, depending on the size or the years of it. But he was talking specifically at the power transformers that were replaced at one of the substations, which it was indicated that it has been there for more than 2 decades.
And that is quite concerning, isn't it? That it's had to take us this long to undertake these kinds of programs. But before we come to the specifics of what you are currently doing, are there plans to at least make sure that these kinds of whether changes or upgrades are a bit more regular rather than waiting in, like the example you're giving, sometimes 20 years and above to undertake such a major exercise?
Yes, so in his statement, he also indicated that there are quite an elaborate program to restore reliability, and he categorized them these various interventions: immediate interventions, short to medium term investments, backbone infrastructure, project support resources, yes, as those specific interventions. And it was clear that for category 1, which is the immediate interventions, he mentioned that an amount of 278 million Ghana cedis is being put in place or invested, and this will take up to about 6 months. He continued by saying that there's also a short to medium term investment, that's 6 to 12 months, which will cost about 1.2 billion. And if I should give you details of the various categories, for category 1, which is the immediate intervention, it looks at the injection of about 2,500 distribution transformers to relieve overloaded stations across all our operational areas, replacement of hundreds of damaged transformers and associated materials, including ring main units and distribution pillars. He also spoke about our operation Keep the Lights On, which also includes the replacement of 1,600 rotten poles in the low voltage network under this operation, and the installation of 2,511 meter treated poles for network reinforcement under the same operation Keep the Lights On. So there are quite a number of activities which have been categorized under the immediate interventions, short to medium term investments, the backbone infrastructure. For the backbone infrastructure, that's looks at the construction of new 11 kV and 33 kV feeders to relieve chronically overloaded ones. And then we have the other backbone project, which includes the construction of a sub-transmission link from a station E, which is located at the Graphic Road, to Aveno in Accra. So there are quite a number of interventions which have been put in place to remedy the situation.
Right. So now let's talk about the key developments you are undertaking at the moment, and you've given us an idea of some of the issues. We had the managing director, the acting managing director, more or less apologize for the power outages. Is this solely as a result of the current upgrade exercise, or these are, isolated power outages if the reports have come to your attention?
In fact, acting MD indicated that, yes, we have received reports, and he was very clear that even though we've accepted and the inconvenience and distraction these challenges imposed on our households, he was clear and provided assurance that he would not take it lightly and has put in place measures to get these things resolved. Yes, he was clear also on the fact that we have the issue of aging infrastructure, overloaded feeders, inadequate maintenance, and limited investments in modern technologies. And these have weakened the distribution network. So yes, he accepted it, and he was clear in assuring our customers, the general public, that efforts are being made, especially in collaboration with the ministry, that's our sector ministry, to get these things resolved.
And so we know that this is an exercise that's going to take some time. How far have we come? What else is left, or which other areas are left? And how soon are we likely to complete the entire upgrade?
Okay, so the upgrades are in phases or categories. And I'm sure you are very much aware that in some few weeks ago, we were able to complete 3 major projects: the Adenta, the Maijo, and then the Lashibi replacement of their power transformers at these 3 areas. Yes, so it's ongoing. We also have the immediate projects, that's the immediate interventions, which are started. Then we move on to the short to long-term investments, the backbone, and then the rest. So we are looking at, within 24 months, all of this should have been resolved. Now, as I indicated, they are in different categories. So we are looking at the immediate interventions, and then we move on to the other interventions or investments that we have to put in place to resolve the issues.
And it should be the understanding of your customers that when these upgrades are done, they are supposed to, or they are to have reliable power supply uninterrupted.
Excellent. Yes, and I always add that even sometimes when the lights are off, we urge our customers to call or to inform us, because some of them are localized. They are within the communities. So even though everything is fine, there are occasions where certain activities could trigger our systems going down. Yes, we work with machines, but the main point or issue is that when these issues are resolved, the assurance given by the acting managing director, the assurance given by the sector ministry and the minister would be confirmed.
Okay. We also know that your regulator, that's the Public Utility
PRC.
Regulatory Commission, PRC, has actually directed an investigation into the unexplained depletion of prepaid meters. And I'm sure this is a concern you must have heard time and again, where people say that they buy credit or units, as some call it, and in no time the power runs out. There was an explanation given by the acting MD that it could partly be attributed to the upgrade. Maybe for purposes of those who may have missed it, help us understand how is it that some people say that their meters are running faster than usual after these upgrades?
Okay, so the question was about a recent occurrence. And the MD explained that what happened was as a result of some of our offset meters not accepting or were not able to capture the recent tariffs which were recorded or supposed to have been captured by the systems or the metering systems. So let me just give you a very clear scenario. During our investigations, we realized that some of our meters were not having the current or the latest tariffs. You know, tariffs, when they are implemented, are also being implemented on our systems, our metering systems. So when you buy credit or you make any deposit, your usage and your consumption are all calculated based on the real tariffs. But can you imagine that for the past 2, 3, or even 4 years, your current meter does not have the current tariff, or the tariffs that were released for the past 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years. So if you are paying 100 Ghana cedis in 2021, and there has been an increase in tariff in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, you still pay the same 100 Ghana cedis. So
Okay.
when we realize that, we have to then manually do the upgrade with the current tariffs, which means that if tariff has been increased by a certain percentage over that period of time, that was how much you are going to be charged.
Okay.
So for some of our customers, for the past 3, 4 years, they were not paying for the current tariffs.
Okay. So
I don't know if you understand what my explanation.
Yes, I get the point
Exactly.
that some of the meters had not been, leveled up to meet current demand. So they are still
Exactly.
in the old system. So this upgrade more
That
or
is
less
true.
levels the playing field where everybody is
Yes.
paying how much they consume. But
Exactly.
could this have been resolved, in a way that people wouldn't have individual challenges, for which reason now it's become a major conversation? Is there a way we can do it that everybody is aware first of all, and then when the system rolls out, we are all on the same page so that the experiences wouldn't be different?
To add to that, we conducted public education. We informed our customers, and because it wasn't a nationwide issue. There were just pockets of customers within certain communities who were facing these challenges.
Right.
So we had this education. We contacted some of these customers who were available at the time, because sometimes you go to communities and they've gone to work, they've gone to the markets.
Okay.
But those who were able to be discussed with them, we conducted all of this public education for them to understand. But as human as we are, it gets difficult to accept or to admit that yes, you've not been paying the same amount. You are paying this amount, and now you're not supposed to pay the same amount. We understand our customers. We engage them, and I'm sure it's been a while since you heard about this issue.
Yes, yes, that kind of public sentiment has died down.
Has died down. Yeah, exactly. So we'll continue to engage them, to speak to them, educate them on some of these currency trends, and we hope that they'll continue to be patient with us as we go through this.
All right, Doc. We thank you for your time and the explanation you've brought to this conversation.
I'm very grateful, sir.
Right, so that is Dr. Charles Ni Ayiku, who is the Director of Communications for the Electricity Company of Ghana. And he's been answering a number of questions following a press briefing that was held earlier today by the Acting Managing Director of the ECG, where he touched on the ongoing upgrade of transformers in parts of the country, which according to the ECG is going to be rolled out countrywide, but more or less an update of the exercise that they've been undertaking and the concerns that have also been raised regarding prepaid meters. So we are told that extra money will be needed to ensure that the entire country is powered and then they have reliable supply of electricity all year round. We'll update you when we get further information on this. This is still 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. Stay with us. When we return, we'll be moving to the offices of the the offices of the National Fire Service, where they now have revived a unit, which is the Fire Police Unit, the National Fire Service Police Unit. What is the police unit of the fire service expected to do? Details of all of that and more coming up in a moment. Stay with us. You're live on 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition on the dial, and we are happy that you are part of the show. We are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, and we love your thoughts and comments that you share on the stories we have for you this evening. Now, in recent times, fire service personnel or personnel of the National Fire Service have faced physical attacks from members of the public while carrying out their duties, largely due to the absence of a dedicated fire police unit. In response to this growing concern, the Ghana National Fire Service has reorganized its fire police unit, which originally operated between October 1992 and 1998. So that's quite some time ago. The unit is tasked with ensuring discipline within the service and acting as a protective barrier between firefighters and the general public. Speaking to the media, the Chief Fire Officer, Martin Asiedu-Dartey, expressed concern over the recent attacks on fire personnel and emphasized the urgent need to revive the fire police unit. Let's listen to her.
In recent times, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service have come under attack from members of the public while carrying out their duties. Incidents that should draw support instead turn hostile. Early this year, firefighters responding to blaze in Kaswa were assaulted, one of several similar cases recorded across the country. These attacks have left some firefighters injured and others shaken, creating fear and in some cases forcing personnel to abandon life-saving operations. Authorities say the absence of a dedicated fire police unit has contributed to growing vulnerability of firefighters on the job. Now, in response, the service has recognized its fire police unit, reviving a system that existed between 1992 and 1998. The unit is expected to enforce discipline within the service while also serving as a protective barrier between firefighters and the public during emergency operations.
Recently, our firefighters have faced more attacks at emergency grounds. Some have been beaten, harassed, and blocked by criminals. These people use weapons and other tools to stop our work and put lives at risk. This must stop. And I stress this must stop.
Chief Fire Officer Daniela Mawoshi Into Sapon is also warning the public to desist from attacking emergency responders, stressing that such actions endanger life and hinder rescue efforts.
The units will have more tasks and more responsibility beyond keeping discipline inside the service. The fire police will not protect firefighters at incident grounds and scenes. You will be the first line of defense against anyone who tries to attack, block, rescue work, or cause harm. Your job is not bigger, so your skills must also grow.
Selected personnel for the revived unit will undergo specialized combat and crowd control training with support from the Ghana Armed Forces, particularly its military police. The goal is to ensure that firefighters can operate safely and effectively even in volatile situations. As emergency responders continue to risk their lives to save others, authorities say protecting them must become a shared responsibility. Joseph Armstrong, Good with TV3.
And that's a report that captures the essence of why the police unit of the fire service is being brought back. But let's speak now to Richard Kumado, a security consultant. Mr. Kumado, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, Martin.
I'm sure you understand what exactly the explanation that we are being given is, that because of the recent attacks on service officers, they are bringing in more or less their own police to protect them while they do their job. Is that the same understanding you have? And why can't the Ghana Police Service as a unit rather do that, but the fire service people creating their own police unit and letting them protect them while working for us?
I think it's an initiative that is laudable to the extent that they used to be there before and they abandoned that position and bringing it back. It's laudable. What we need to be mindful of is to wait for the modalities to be explained, which they didn't do at the press conference. Secondly, I'm anticipating that the frontline firefighters who has been trained to act as police officers will be part of the first responders. And in so doing, they may actively participate in the preservation and the protection of lives and property, in as much as they will be there to protect their colleagues, because they do it in any way, and they may not be operating as a full standard police who is there to maintain law and order while properties and lives are being destroyed. Some of them will also be providing administrative duties in liaising between what happened in the front line and reporting the appropriate police authorities for action.
Right, and still on the same tangent though, is it not? Wouldn't it have also been fair if you have sister services providing assistance for each other, where following recent attacks on fire service personnel, the police must always be with them? It's not that we are downplaying the service unit, the police service unit of the fire service, but if we have Ghana Police Service to deal solely with civilians, would it be out of place if, for instance, the fire service said that following these recent attacks, we need you to be moving to locations with us to protect us and protect the citizens as well?
I agree with you. But then if you look at how fires are fought in this country, the police have always been involved. The fire service have never been to a place where they had emergency or crisis situation and the police left them in the dark. The police have always been involved. If they are saying that they don't have adequate protection or cooperation with the police, that's a different thing. But the police have always been involved. Because he did not explain the key role of the fire police officers, it's leaving a vacuum for all manner of speculations and, people filling with all manner of imagination. But I think that, appropriately speaking, one of the roles they are going to play is to arm themselves while fighting fire or watch over whoever want to attack their colleagues and deal with the person. But having said that, the fire police will not prosecute people without the Ghana Police Service. Because the Ghana Police Service, they are the first responders in all emergencies and in all cases of crisis. Before the BNI, before immigration or the military gets there, the police are the first responders, and that role cannot be taken away from them. In as much as the military has military police, they don't act as the Ghana Police Service. There are limitations and there are rules and responsibilities. And I want to believe the same is going to be applied to this particular unit.
Right. And that's a good education you bring to it, because I heard the Chief Fire Officer, Madam Mausi Into, add that the fire police unit previously was largely just to check internal policing of the fire service, but now they may have to be deployed out of the service. So it's good that you also mentioned that. But help us understand, what exactly have you been able to read from why citizens who are desperate and calling for the fire service to attend to them to address fire concerns end up attacking these fire officers? Have you been able to grasp what
I think
really
number one is lack of public education. Number two is awareness creation, which we haven't done well in this country. Number three, which is more important than one and two, properties are burning, people are dying. It raises all manner of emotional stress, and people come under pressure. The way we have structured our cities disadvantages the firefighters, and they struggle to get to those locations, which is not caused by them, but probably caused by the very people who are becoming victims of the circumstance. Then number four, we do not, as a nation, provide the fire service people with the accurate equipment and the appropriate tools and resources to be able to quench those fires within limited timelines. Then that also adds to the fury where people misconstrue their delays, and sometimes many of the things that happen and they see it as negligence and they want to attack them. But it's all part of public education. If you look at many of the fire hydrants we are using now, they are outmoded and they don't need to be in the street. And I'm happy the president said he's going to give them 100 fire hydrants. We have to check and see whether they start arriving or not. Because these ones, they don't need to be in the street because they outlive their usefulness and they are outmoded. Then again, we need to restructure these cities properly, that people must stop putting shops and containers and buildings on the waterways, because you will need the water exit to be able to help a fire tender to get the water and get to the place. And the way we also structure our communities, it's a dead zone. If you visit any of our markets and you are told that this market got burned and people's property is destroyed, you will not be surprised. So let's inculcate all this into the 24-hour market they are building. Then let's build it properly. And we understood that KJTR is in the fire in the news again. I'm hoping that it is not true. But I visited KJTR when they had a first fire outbreak. And you should see the level of carelessness and changing the whole outlook of KJTR into something else, which that is not what it was built for. And those are the things we also do at the personal level or at the community level that creates all manner of vulnerabilities for us. And we don't take responsibility, but we add it up to the fire service, which is struggling, and we want to beat them up.
Mr. Kumado, thank you so much. Unfortunately, it is true that there was fire today also at KJTR, so it looks as though the concern of whether or not there's fire at the KJTR market is true. It happened earlier today, and that report is on our website, 3news.com. Richard Kumado is a security consultant helping us make sense of that conversation there. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is a hot edition. Let's go on to some other stories now. Management of the bulk oil storage and transportation says the firm stands to lose 40 million Ghana cedis of its revenue monthly following the government's reduction of the bust margin on diesel. Bust management says the move, which forms part of government's intervention to cushion Ghanaians against the increasing prices of fuel due to the ongoing Middle East tensions, will hit hard on its operations. During a visit to Bust by members of the Energy Committee of Parliament, the Deputy Managing Director of Bust, Nat Salif Wechampong, appealed to the lawmakers to assist in restoring the Bust margin when the Middle East crisis is resolved. Let's listen to what exactly he's been telling the gathering and the media and Parliament's committee when they went to Bust today.
Seriously being hit by the reduction in bus margin, but it is not taken off completely. We still have the margin on petrol. It's only on diesel that we don't have the margin. But we've been promised it is only for a short period. Within this month, we are likely to lose close to 40 million Ghana cedis. And 40 million Ghana cedis off our books is serious business. So if you compare that, assuming we lose 40 million Ghana cedis consistently over a period, it means that our operation will adversely be affected. So we are appealing to the powers that be. When the crisis is over, they will restore the bus margin for the good people of Ghana. Nothing is free. If there's ever been a time that the government or the people of Ghana should empower bus, it's now. All these facilities you have seen, we need to replace the pipeline from Accra to Akusombo. And bear in mind, all this pipeline will inure to the benefit of the whole country. Once we replace the existing pipeline, which is only 6 inches, these are 12 inches pipeline, we get resources from the bus margin to bring in all this pipeline. If we lose the bus margin completely, what it means is that we will not be able to replace the existing pipeline.
How long is this project expected?
12 months. We are well placed to take the shock for a month. But if it is over a month, then we'll come crying.
And that's the voice of the Deputy Managing Director of Bust, Nat Salifu Echampong. Let's speak now to Christian Yali, our parliamentary correspondent who was with the committee when they visited the Bust offices. Christian, thank you for your time. So, which other sites have the committee been visiting?
All right, Martin. So the committee today, after visiting the Bust Accra Plains Depot, proceeded to visit the Sunon Asogli Company Limited, where they have the plans to visit the strategic site within the enclave. Now, the interest of the committee as part of its oversight role is to understand some of the operational issues that are undertaking place there, also to see or to get first-hand information whether there are any specific challenges that they would want MPs to make recommendations to government about, to all in the sake of ensuring that the country's energy mix continues to receive the necessary resolve and the necessary support that it requires. and also due to the conversations that have been had over and over again about whether as a country we have enough to, withstand global shocks that could affect our fuel and gas supply. You would recall that just a few days ago, Ghana Gas, for instance, had to, shut down a very critical plant because it developed a fault. So in the wake of all of these circumstances, conversations around scrapping the one cedi fuel levy, conversations around government absorption of, some liters, amount of liters of petrol and diesel, it has become necessary for the Energy Committee to visit some of these key institutions under the power generation sector so that they get some of these information first-hand, details. And so that is what has been happening, and we know that as part of that, the committee has received, some information, especially from the Sunon Asogli power plant, how they are incorporating solar energy into their duties, as well as what it means for
Unfortunately, Christian, we may have to bring that later to our listeners, and we're trying to work that system so we can bring that insert of the assurance that BOST is giving to its consumers and customers, I should say. But where next? We're told that the ranking member has also been raising some concerns of the move by government. What exactly has the ranking been saying?
Yes, Martin, George Kwame Abuaji is of the view that instead of reducing the BOST margin, which is going to critically affect the operations of BOST, government should have considered cutting some taxes on fuel products, especially that issue about the one cedi fuel levy. He is of the view that either there is a suspension in the immediate term or there is a total repeal of that tax to cushion Ghanaians, so that at least the BOST margin would remain as it were and ensure that BOST is able to undertake its mandate. We can listen to George Kwame Abuaji as he speaks.
Well, Christian, we would have to leave it here for now, but thank you very much for that report. He's our parliamentary correspondent working, following the committee around, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy. They have been going around a number of state institutions, or at least we do know that they've been to BOST. They've also been to the Sunon Asogli power plant to ascertain and get first-hand information about the operations of these institutions vis-a-vis what the customers, you and I, need and how they intend to supply needs and whether or not they have enough capacity. And this is all coming on the back of recent developments in the Middle East, which has caused fuel prices to go up, and government in recent days stepped in to intervene so that the end consumer would not feel the impact directly. But one of the margins that government is absorbing, which is the 40, which is the 2 cedi absorption by government when it comes to diesel. Well, BOST, which is one of the largest suppliers of diesel to the OMCs, is saying that following this absorption, the 2 cedi absorption by government, it is likely to hit them. They are to lose about 40 million Ghana cedis every month as a result of this 2 cedi that government has knocked off its books, or the margin that government has absorbed will cost them about 40 million. So they are hoping that it will be just for a month, because if it continues, it would adversely affect their operations. In subsequent bulletins, we will address all the other concerns regarding this trip by the committee. Let's go to the courts now. And Andy Appiah-Kubi, who is lead counsel for the NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Wontumi, has described as prejudicial and unfortunate the comments by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Shremsai after the latter prayed the court to convict Chairman Wontumi. Earlier, the defense lawyers had informed the court of their inability to file the names of witnesses to be relied on after the court ordered them to file their defense if they were so minded. The Ashanti Regional NPP chairman and his company, Akonta Mining, are facing 6 counts on the company's concession without prior approval from the lands minister, as well as facilitating unlicensed mining activities. The High Court in March ruled that the prosecution had established a prima facie case against the accused persons and directed them to file their witness statements should they intend to do so on or before the 14th of April 2026. Let's listen to this report.
The Ashanti Regional NPP chairman and his company Akonta Mining are facing 6 counts of allegedly permitting Henry Okum and Michael Jedu AEC to mine on the company's concession without prior. The Ashanti Regional NPP chairman and his company Akonta Mining are facing 6 counts of allegedly permitting Henry Okum and Michael Jedu AEC to mine on the company's concession without prior.
You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition live from our studio here at Desanwe Kanda in Accra. We apologize for the technical problems we are facing. It's as a result of, slight technical challenges, and I will try and resolve it and get back to you. We're bringing you a report about what happened in court today. You know that the chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region, that is Bernard Ntwibo-Esiako. Many of you will know him as Chairman Wuntumi. Well, he's been to court a number of times, and this follows some allegations of, 6 counts of alleged, involvement in illegal mining activities. Him and his company, that is Akonta Mining, are facing 6 charges or accounts of alleged activities, mining without concession and then mining in areas without permission. And so they were in court today. Following the several days of appearing in court, the accused was supposed to file their response or their witness statements, and they were to do that on the 14th of April 2026. But they have since not done that, and 14th April is about 6 days ago. They've not done that. So today in court, the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General Justice Sremsai, asked the court to go ahead and prosecute and convict Chairman Wuntumi. But his lawyer, that is lawyer for Chairman Wuntumi, Andy Apiakubi, said that the statement from Justice Sremsai, the Deputy AG, was prejudicial and unfortunate because he was of the view that they have not been able to compile or complete their process, for which reason they've not been able to file their witness statement. So that's the report we're bringing to you, but unfortunately our systems seem to be having a mind of their own. But we'll leave it here and bring you business and sports, which will all be coming your way in a moment. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We start off from former Ghana international Sami Kufuor, who has called for the support for new Black Stars head coach Carlos Queiroz. He added that he is not concerned with Queiroz's defensive style of play, as Ghana plays that way in any case. We have more for you in the following interview.
I will just get people who understand the concept of Ghana football, be around them, get to know what is Ghanaian likes. The players, I think by now he has started talking to some of the players that he think that they will be available for him. But I also advise that he get people who also understand Ghana football, who are playing there, who have tasted it, to also have a talk with him. For me, like I said, it's not about the coach. I think the players that we know that they can do better, we should give them confidence. And I think coach knows better than we do in terms of talking to the players the way that you want them to do. So for me, I think either we like it or we don't like it, we have already signed him.
Yeah.
So we give him the necessary support. Critics here and there, it will not help. It will not. We can criticize whatever that we want to criticize. Either we like it or we don't like it. He is going to sit on the bench.
To some more stories, where head coach of Ghana's under-17 women's team, the Black Maidens, Joe Nana Adakwa, has reaffirmed the team's commitment to strict age verification following past sanctions over eligibility breaches. Speaking after his side's emphatic 6-0 win over Togo on Saturday, Mr. Adakwa stressed that lessons have been learned and safeguards strengthened to prevent a repeat of what happened previously.
In terms of ages, right now, we are always careful about whatever we are doing. Any player that we pick, we send the player to FA to go through everything, go into their system and see that they can play for U17. So, no shaky.
And to some more stories here, Arsenal legend Patrick Vieira has identified Antoine Semenyo as one of the Premier League's top performers since the turn of the year. Speaking on Sky Sports after City's 2-1 win over Arsenal, Vieira praised the Ghanaian international for his character and consistent goal-scoring form since joining City from Bournemouth in January.
I think he's been one of the best players in the Premier League since January. He came into the team with a strong character, personality. He's been scoring goals and he's been playing all the games so far. So he's been quite really impressive since joining Arsenal.
Well, that was Arsenal legend Patrick Vieira speaking, bringing an end to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Ore Kwampofo and we'll be back again same time tomorrow.